Hello and welcome, part 2, section 2-5. Like I said in the last video, this one is a toughie, so plan to go slow, write everything down, hit the pause button when you don't know what's going on. Okay, not knowing what's going on makes you normal, right? You're here to learn, so go slow, take notes, and rewind when you don't understand. If you still don't understand it, bring me those questions, please. Let's just continue, and the only way to do this is to keep doing it. All right, here's a question right here. It says solve this one for y. We talked about literal equations in the last video. So again, using the template here, let's recopy the question in the middle here, make some notes on it. You got 9x plus 4y is equal to 12. All right, so step one, identify. What is it you want? What is it you want to isolate? You've got to know that first. You want this y right here. All right, let's put a little circle around it. So you know the game is to end up with y equals. You want to know what y equals all by itself. 1y, not 4y, not 9x plus 4y. So if we look closely at this, we ask ourselves, what is happening to y? Y is being multiplied by 4. Y is also having 9x added to it. So this is very much like a two-step equation. We want to undo what's being added to the 4y. So I'm going to add negative 9x. Okay, working downhill. Hopefully you've been practicing that. 4y goes here. Equal sign stays lined up. And on the right-hand side, you have negative 9x plus 12. Okay, you're really close. So let's get our notes caught up here. You're going to add negative 9x in that particular problem to both sides. Right here, what we want to do, again, we're trying to isolate this y, which is right here now. We're going to divide both sides by 4. We're going to divide that by 4 there. We're going to divide that by 4 right there. There's your 1 right there. See it? 4 divided by 4 is 1, 1y. All right, and this just equals negative 9x plus 12 divided by 4. You cannot do anything else to that. You can't divide the 4 and the 12 because you cannot divide the 9 and the 4. Now, if I'd had numbers where that number was a multiple of 4, you could divide it out of both of them. But you can't do that. So this is all you do for that problem right there. And that's really it. That's really all we can do to this question. That is solve for y. Okay, and we're happy. That's all we can do there. All right, if you would, please do a dotted line, a barrier line there so you can separate your notes. I put them on separate pages here because it's a little easier for me to do the notes for you. Let's take a look at this crazy looking one. Well, this is a formula. You might recognize it. This is a formula to convert a Fahrenheit temperature into a Celsius temperature. But let's say instead of having C isolated like it does in this formula, maybe they want F isolated. So that's what we have to do. We have to work this out for F all by itself. So let's put C, actually, hang on. When you do that, just to make yourself a little bit easier on this one because I see what's going to happen here. Give yourself a little bit of space right there. You'll see why in a minute. Equals, and give yourself a little bit of space after the equal sign right there. It'll just make it easier for us to see, hopefully, what's happening. Now, write it out like this. 30 minus 32. There we go. Now, when we look at this question, again, where's our target? So let's identify that. Identify. You want to end up with F equals on one side. Okay, let's identify where that F is. It's right here. So our goal now is to get that F all by itself. Okay, well, here's a strange looking thing. We have this fraction right here, and we have that fraction multiplied times this. All right, now I'm going to do a little think bubble over here in red. It's kind of like this. And this is the hard thing about literal equations. They all might look different, so I can't say, you know, just do this and this and this like a two-step equation. But think how that question is kind of like, let's say it was C equals just 5/9 x. Okay, based on what we've done in class, you would multiply the reciprocal here, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would, because 9/5 would give you 1x if you were solving that for x. Okay, so it's kind of like this, it's kind of like that is like, just like x. It's being multiplied times 5/9. Do you see what's happening here? This is really important that you understand what I'm saying right here. It's kind of like a variable or something equals 5/9 times a variable. Just pretend that's a variable for a moment. Don't let the f minus 2 freak you out. So you're hopefully thinking, well, I would multiply that by 9/5. I might have said that wrong a minute ago. You multiply by the reciprocal, which is 9/5. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, and watch what happens. I'm going to get this down, please. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 5/9, which is 9/5. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to squeeze that in right here. Now that's why I told you to give yourself some space. Now I'm going to do it there. And remember the rule, do unto one side as you do unto the other. I'm going to multiply that there. So bring your equal sign down. Keep it lined up, please. This side is now 9/5 times c. And watch what happens over here. What is this value right here? Do you know what that is? I hope so. That is the number 1, right? You have basically 45 over 45. That's what we learned in 2-2, multiplying the reciprocal. Those cancel out, and you basically have the number 1. So that is now gone. Essentially, it's 1, and on the right-hand side, all you have left is f minus 32, the parentheses. Well, since it's just f minus 32, you can just say f minus 32. Now look what you have. Now remember our goal. Our goal is to get this f here isolated. Okay, if you have f minus 32, how do you isolate that? Yeah, you know how to do that. You add 32. So if I add that 32 there and add that 32 there, all right, guess what? You've isolated f. That's the game. F. F is now isolated, but you have to figure out how to write that. It's 9/5 c plus 32. You can't combine those because they're not the same variable. You don't have like terms. And that's all you can do to solve that. F is isolated. And you solved it. So that's worth a smiley face, I think. Don't be ashamed of that. You did it. 9/5 c plus 32 is equal to F, which is now, if you could have Celsius degrees, you could solve that for Fahrenheit using that formula right there. All right, we're at 8 minutes, and again, because these take so long, I'm going to stop this one and do another one and hopefully be able to wrap it up there. I don't know, it might take an extra one just because these are so tricky for you, but just keep working at it and you'll get it done. But take your notes seriously, slow down, step by step, line by line, take your time, and you'll be fine.